Any idea? Please let me know.
Yes, so formation of blood cells.
Yeah, so where does it occur? Like,
Also
T
bone
cell
marrow.
maturation is in thymus.
maturation in thymus. Okay, but hematopoiesis, I am asking. You know what is hematopoiesis, first of all? So this is way beyond T cell and B cell. So first of all, if we talk about embryo, in the embryonic development, it is in the yolk sac. The yolk sac region has a maturation part where your hematopoietic stem cells are there. Okay, and then they will travel to liver or spleen partially, and from that they will go to bone marrow. So this is the origin of hematopoiesis. So first of all, when embryo is under development, yolk sac is the region where hematopoiesis will begin, where the maturation, or sorry, the progenitor cells will start forming. Then they will go into liver and spleen, and then they will go into bone marrow. And in bone marrow, then the activation, maturation, differentiation will occur depending on what kind of cells you have. So, for example, B lymphocytes are there, then they will get matured over there and there itself partially. And if T lymphocytes are there, then they will travel to thymus and they will get mature in thymus. So this is the beginning and this is the starting of hematopoiesis. Okay. Now you know the difference between stem cells and totipotent cells. When do we call? You must have heard the term stem cells and totipotent cells several period of time. Like not totipotent may not be, but stem cells you must be reading a lot. Like many people come up with the theory like if you inject the stem cell in your body, then this will happen, that will happen, and so on. So any idea, any clues about stem cells?
So stem cells are fully matured cells,
Okay,
and totipotent cell haven't yet matured, like they're immature.
okay.
They can
Anyone else?
differentiate further.
Okay. Anyone else would like to try on this? Can you give me an example of totipotent cell with respect to human? Zygote is the example of totipotent cell. So when we say totipotent, it has full potential to develop into any kind of cell. Okay. Now we have pluripotent stem cells. So when we say stem cells and normal differentiating cells, so for example, if we have a stem cell and a normal cell as a progenitor cell, generally progenitor cell is something which is before maturation, and so normal progenitor cell will always, for example, if it is erythropoietic progenitor cell, it will always form erythrocytes or RBCs during maturation. So for example, if you have 100 progenitor cells, it will form 100 RBCs. So from substrate to product, and then you will have no progenitor cells which are left any longer, and all of them have been converted into RBCs. So that is a normal cell. Okay, it undergoes differentiation and maturation, and finally from substrate you get a product. Whereas in case of stem cells, whatever kind of stem cells you say, they divide into two parts. First part will undergo differentiation and maturation, the second part will add up to its own population. You got the difference between the two? So whenever stem cell is undergoing division, they will divide it into two parts. They will divide the first part of stem cell will undergo differentiation and maturation, and they will form some kind of line. For example, if it is myeloid progenitor stem cell, then they will form myeloid line. If it is lymphoid progenitor stem cell, then they will form B lymphocyte, T lymphocyte, and natural killer cell, and so on. We'll talk about that later on during the lecture. But this is the main differentiation. So whenever you have stem cell, for example, for us, pluripotent stem cells are very much important because that's the first starting point of your hematopoiesis. We'll talk that in few minutes. But stem cells basically they divide into two parts. First, they will differentiate and maturate. The second part will add up to its own population. So that is the very characteristic part of stem cells, and that kind of cells only you could mention as a stem cell. So whenever you think of a therapy of stem cell, don't think like that they will get exhausted. If you provide proper nutrient hormones to them, they will still form their own population, and then they will mature and differentiate also in the meantime. So this generally happens in our body. Otherwise, whatever were the stem cells present at the time of birth would have been exhausted by now, and we would have been died of infection if, for example, myeloid or lymphoid progenitor stem cells are not present in our body. Okay, so far clear? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Fine. Now now where does like thymus is a region. Okay. And thymus plays a major role in your T cell differentiation and maturation and activation. Okay. Now, where does it present during the development? You know anything about anatomical origin or anatomical part of that, of thymus? During the embryonic development, it is the third and fourth pharyngeal pouch region which helps in the development of thymus and parathyroid gland. Okay, so these are the two things which are very much important, and why it is important, I will talk about it. So during the embryonic development, the third and fourth parapharyngeal pouch, which develops into parathyroid and thymus part. Okay, so if third and fourth or any of that is not formed properly, then either your parathyroid is missing or your thymus is improper. Okay, now before this, I will just like to let you know the region. So this is the thymus. Okay. Now where it is located? Any idea the location of thymus?
Sir, like nearby lungs.
Okay. Anyone else would like to try? It is behind the sternum and in front of trachea. That is the location of thymus. It is behind the sternum and in front of trachea. Okay, that is the location. Now it is divided into, we'll just talk about the differentiation of thymus, what it is, how it is present. So you have the outer layer which is made up of capsule region. Okay, then you have outer cortex. Okay, then you have epithelial cells, then you have middle cortex, and then you have medulla. So differentiation occurs over here, and activated cells will go and get deposited into medulla. Okay, so far it is clear. Where the location of thymus, first of all, location of thymus is clear.
Yes, sir.
It is behind the sternum, in front of trachea. That is very much important. Now, with respect to thymic structure, this is from the book. I will give you the details of the book. It's from QB also. The thymic structure, the organization over here, which we are looking at histological section. So what exactly happens? This is the capsule region. This is the outer cortex, middle cortex. So in the cortex region only, in this region only, the differentiation occurs of thymus, and then when thymic selection is proper, it will go into medulla, and over here activated thymic T cells are present. So differentiation of T cells occur over here, and once they are activated, they are mature, they will go into this medulla region, and then from there they will go to blood, and then they will get circulated. So this is how it happens. Now, before that, I would like to tell you about uh, generation of hematopoietic stem cells and hematopoiesis, because if you don't know this part, then the later on part will not make any sense. So we have hematopoietic stem cells which are present in our body. So I have just explained previously what are stem cells, so I will not go into details of that. So hematopoietic stem cells, as the name suggests, hematopoietic, anything related with blood will be formed in this. So blood itself, we all know that it is a connective tissue. So when hematopoietic stem cells undergo differentiation, they first form common myeloid progenitor with the help of interleukin 3, granulocyte forming unit, and monocyte forming unit. They will further go differentiation into megakaryocytes, erythroid progenitor by the cytokine activation of IL-3, SCF, and TPO. Okay, and it will further go megakaryocyte erythroid progenitor will undergo erythrocyte, which is finally forms your RBC over here, which you could say uh, this part. Okay, by erythrocyte poietin activation. Okay, megakaryocyte further gets divided by the action of interleukin 11 and TPO into platelets. Okay, then further this common myeloid progenitor, it will form granulocyte macrophage progenitor. Okay, so granulocytes are divided into two parts mainly, myeloblasts and monocytes. Myeloblasts will undergo differentiation into basophil or mast cells by GCSF, GMCSF, and IL-3 cytokine action. Myeloblasts will undergo eosinophil differentiation by again GMCSF, IL-3, and IL-5. Remember that. Myeloblasts will undergo neutrophil formation by GCSF, GMCSF, IL-6, and SCF. Whereas your monocytes, which are present in your liver, which are present in your spleen, which are present in your other parts of body, skin, for example, they form by the action of cytokine IL-6, SCF, GCSF. You must have heard of dendritic cells also. They are also a part of macrophages. Okay, and their progenitor cell is your monocyte. So whichever, like in lungs also we have alveolar macrophages, right? You must have heard of it. So their progenitor cell is monocyte, which will undergo into differentiation depending on their organ specificity by the action of cytokine. And last but not least, common lymphoid progenitor by the action of interleukin 17 and interleukin, it will first form common lymphoid progenitor. So common lymphoid progenitor is where we are interested in, which forms T lymphocyte in our case by the action of IL-2 and IL-7. Then by the action of IL-3, IL-4, IL-7, it forms B lymphocyte, which will come later on in your syllabus. And natural killer cells, okay, which is a killing host of our body or killing factory of our body, which is very much important. And IL-15, interleukin 15 will help us to form natural killer cells. Now remember that T cell lymphocyte formation is we are interested in currently, but natural killer cell or whatever, like earlier it was conceptualized like your monocyte doesn't have granules, very very long ago when the differentiation used to occur. They used to say, okay, macrophages doesn't have granules, but as we all know that macrophages have granulocytes enzyme, and they form granules in the like perforins also it present. So unless and until you have granules, you can't have an enzyme which can cause a perforation also. So natural killer cells, whereas macrophages, they all have perforins, and they act by their very particular mechanism of formation of perforin and pores in the cell wall of the infected cell, and uh, the process of killing. So this is just to give you a brief idea. So we have a hematopoietic stem cell, and for us the current important pathway is development of that by interleukin 17 into common lymphoid progenitor, and in turn common lymphoid progenitor, after action of cytokine IL-2 and interleukin 7, will form T lymphocyte. Now for us, what exactly happens? So this is in the bone marrow. So bone marrow, you have hematopoietic stem cells. They form common lymphoid precursor, which I have shown in the previous example. Then they will go and migrate to blood, and then they will reach to thymus. Okay. So they originate, hematopoietic stem cells originate in bone marrow. Then they will form common lymphoid precursor. They will migrate to thymus, where it is acting as a T cell precursor. In between, there is a action of c-kit, CD44 and CD25 over here. So one like the transformation of T cell precursor to pro T cell precursor occurs by the action of c-kit and CD44. So there is a double negative selection, and in the meantime, T cell T cell receptor locus will undergo rearrangement, and DJJB beta and V beta, D beta, and J beta, and this combination of RAG expression on that will help in the positive selection and negative selection. So T cell will form pro T cell, then it will form pre T cell, then again it will form pro T cell which is double positive. So first it is double negative, and then double positive. And finally, it will differentiate itself on the basis of MHCs. So obviously, we all know that CD4 is represented by which class of MHC?
Class 1, sir.
Are you sure?
Class 2, sir.
CD4 by class 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they will undergo differentiation, and then they will form CD8 and CD4 activated markers. So this is how the maturation occurs. Okay. So this is just to give you a brief idea. Now we will talk about what exactly happens. Now, the maturation and activation of T cell is influenced by the involvement of marker of MHCs. So we all know that there are markers which are present on MHCs, right? Now, the subpopulation of CD4 and CD8 are generated that exhibit the class 2 and class 1 MHC restriction respectively. The activation of mature peripheral T cell occur when T cell receptor interact with antigenic peptide. Remember that unless and until your TCR doesn't react with T cell, the MSC related activation, which is your positive selection and negative selection, it is not going to happen. Now, once the MSC complex is interacted with the antigenic peptide present on that, MSC with antigenic peptide, the differentiation process will begin, and it will form into different types of effector cells and memory cells. Now we will talk about maturation of progenitor in the thymus. Progenitor T cell migrate from bone marrow to thymus in 8th or ninth week of gestation of humans. So basically, your progenitor T cell will migrate from bone marrow to thymus in 8th or 9th week of gestation period. Now, T cell maturation involves T cell gene representation and rearrangement of various cell markers. The maturation is divided into basically two parts. We'll just talk about that. The cells which do not express T cell receptor or other cell surface markers like CD4 and CD8, and a late phase. So there are two phases of T cell maturation. The first phase or the early phase, where the markers which do not represent TCR or CD4 or CD8 markers. The late phase, which further depends on the expression of T cell receptor alone. Okay. Now, what exactly happens? The T cell arrives at the thymus and enters into cortex. So we'll just see this part. So your T cells first arrives at the thymus and enters into outer cortex region. Okay. And then these progenitor cells do not possess any surface marker like CD4 and CD8. They are CD4 and CD8 negative. So whenever they enter the outer part of cortex, first of all, at their first entry point, they do not have CD4 or CD8. So they are CD4 negative and CD8 negative basically, and thus referred as double negative. Remember that this is very much important, and this could come in your NET set CSIR or ICMR exam, because immunology is very much important, and majority of the ICMR exams will have this part, uh, and DBT GRF. So double negative, that's why it is called as double negative during early phase. Remember that this happens during early phase. So as I have mentioned, outer cortex, it will come from where? Bone marrow to thymus, obviously via blood, then thymus to the outer cortex. And over there you could see that it doesn't have CD4 and CD8. So it is CD4 negative and CD8 negative, marker negative. That's why it is called as double negative. This happens in your early phase. Okay. During the development in the thymus, the differentiating T cells progress through series of stages, and that are marked by characteristic changes in their cell surface type phenomenon. So their cell surface phenomenon will change, and the development of progression of double negative cells are like, what exactly happens, we'll just see that. Now, first of all, you have T cell as c-kit, T cell expression kit, which is a receptor from stem cell growth factor. So your thymocyte, which is a developing T cell, will have this T cell kit, which is a receptor. And what it receives signal from stem cell of growth factor. So once your thymocyte, which contains T cell c-kit as a receptor, receives a signal from stem cell as a growth factor, it starts subsequent expression of CD44 adhesion molecule and CD25 marker. CD25 is also interleukin 2 receptors alpha chain. Remember that. And in turn, after that, the expression of c-KIT will occur and expression of CD44 will stop and the rearrangement of T cell receptor will begin. After this, the cells of gamma and delta lineage that makes productive arrangement of both gamma and beta chain will form CD3 gamma delta T cells which migrate into periphery region and alpha beta lineage cells for the first time form T cell receptor beta chain gene because of rearrangement and it will be expressed on thymocyte. So remember that whenever I am going to use the term thymocyte, it is developing T cell and the cell which couldn't express this T cell receptor beta chain will be killed in the selection process and they will die out. Now B chain combined with this B chain of T cell receptor will combine with a glycoprotein known as pre-T alpha chain and which is in turn associated with CD3 complex and form pre-T cell receptor. Uh, you people are understanding what I'm explaining over here, right? Hello? Hello?
Sir, actually, we lost the screen a moment before. Can you please rearrange it?
Okay. Now you could see it from where? From thymocyte developing T cells you have lost?
Yes, sir. It's not visible yet.
It's not visible. So where did you lost it exactly? Please let me know. This part you could see bone marrow, outer cortex, what I was explaining.
No, sir.
Oh, you must have told me earlier. Okay,
It's now support.
yeah, now you could see.
Yes, sir.
So shall I explain this part again or it's not required?
So we can continue later if possible. You just post this lecture to us.
Okay, because you missed a lot of amount of part. So please, if the next time, if anything of this sort happens, please let me know. I will stop there and there and I will try to share the screen if it is not visible, because there is no point of explaining if you are not understanding. Then it is going to be difficult to go ahead with the topic, because if you don't understand the starting part, then you can't understand the part which is later on. Fine. So I will just start over here. So you have thymocyte, which is called as which is called as developing T cells. Okay, which has a representation of T cell c-kit, which is a receptor. This receptor receives a growth factor from your stem cell. Okay, and then it will go differentiation. It will start showing CD44 and CD25. So CD25 is interleukin 2 alpha chain. Okay, after that it will further go differentiation. It will start showing c-kit. It will stop showing CD44 marker, and it will start showing T cell receptor will undergo differentiation as a rearrangement at the genetic level. Okay, after this it will be showing CD3 plus gamma and delta T cells in the periphery region, which will in turn start showing your alpha and beta lineages. After the differentiation, T cell receptor, which is showing beta chain rearrangement, will only survive, and they will form and they will combine with CD3 and pre T cell alpha chain, which is a glycoprotein. This is a glycoprotein of 33 kilodalton. Now, the cells which fail to show T cell receptor beta chain, they will die eventually. Remember that they will die eventually. And the cells which are showing CD3 and pre T alpha chain receptor along with T cell receptor beta chain will be considered for pre T cell receptor formation. Okay. Now, pre T cell receptor recognizes some of the intrathymic ligand and transmit a signal to CD3 that activates tyrosine kinase protein. So, further what happens in this case? We'll just write it down again. Pre-TCR, it recognizes one of the intrathymic ligand which is present in the thymic region. So that ligand will be recognized and it will transmit a signal through CD8. So signal transmission occurs through CD3. Okay. Now after CD3, it activates tyrosine kinase, and this stops further beta chain rearrangement, which is a part under your T cell receptor rearrangement. Remember that, which was a part of your T cell receptor rearrangement at the genetic level. Now, this induces further the stopping of beta chain rearrangement. This induces further the expression of CD4 and CD8, and thus your thymocyte, which is again I would like to mention, which is a developing T site. Remember that it becomes double positive. Why does it become double positive? Because it starts showing or expressing your CD8 and CD4 markers, and it starts proliferating further. So far clear? Any doubts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, that double positive cell, why it is called as double positive? That thymocyte is called as double positive. Why?
Both the receptors are expressed.
Yeah, CD4 and not receptor markers. CD4 and CD8 markers are expressed. Okay. Now, after this, once the expression has occurred, this double positive cell will stop proliferating, and this is the beginning of TCR, alpha chain rearrangement. And finally, alpha chain TCR is expressed, and alpha chain expression begin, and double positive cells no longer expression, like they are no longer expressing your CD44 and CD25. So role of CD44 and CD25 ends over here. So what exactly happens? Before this, you were having formation of T cell receptor beta chain. So remember that your T cell receptor has alpha chain and beta chain. So first rearrangement will occur in beta chain, and unless and until the cells which are showing CD4 and CD8 markers, okay, which in turn gets matured into receptor, but that is a later on process. We will not talk about that. That is not in your syllabus. But that part, unless until this occurs, the cells are double negative. Once this happens, the cells become double positive once they are showing CD4 and CD8 markers. Then the proliferation of double positive cell will stop. Okay. Then after that, it signals as T cell receptor for alpha chain rearrangement. The alpha chain rearrangement will occur and alpha chain of TCR cell is expressed. Once the alpha chain of TCR receptor is expressed, it stops showing CD44 and CD25. Okay. Now remember that CD44 and CD25 which we had, that was in the second step during the stem cell growth factor. After stem cell growth factor was received, over here we were having CD44 and CD25 expression, which was started and it has ended in this step. Now, after this, the proliferative phase generates T cell by diversifying clones of that with a single beta chain rearrangement followed by alpha chain rearrangement. So it will go severe differentiation over here, your T cell receptor and T cell, by expressing various alpha chain and beta chain. Okay. Yeah. After this point, T cell receptor will undergo differentiation and it will start showing alpha chain and beta chain in various forms. And double positive cells that expresses your double positive cell which expresses alpha beta TCR CD3 complex will only undergo thymic selection, which is two types of positive and negative selection. Positive selection occurs in thymus and involves the interaction of immature dipythymocyte TCR with MHC peptide complex present on the surface of thymic epithelial cell. So, where does the positive selection occur? It occurs in cortex of thymus, this region, which is the outer cortex and middle cortex, where your positive selection will begin on the basis of MSC. Remember that, whether MSC is recognized or not for the self and non-self recognition part. Okay, so this is just to start with T cell receptor maturation and differentiation. So far, it is clear for all of you. Any doubts so far? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay.
But, sir, which unit are you taking?
I'm taking about T cell effector mechanism and cell mediated immunity था. उसके नीचे T cell maturation वाला पार्ट है आपका, effector cell maturation.
Okay, sir.
I guess 101 का types of CMI था, types of cell mediated immunity. तो उसके नीचे आपका जो पार्ट है वहां पे इफेक्टर सेल का मैकेनिज्म है. उसके पहले इफेक्टर सेल का मैचुरेशन आपको पता होना चाहिए. So it is a part under that T cell maturation. So it is all related with the effector cell. T cells are, B cells are also effector cells, like T lymphocyte, B lymphocyte, natural killer cells. Fine. कुछ डाउट है इसमें?
No, sir. No, sir.
There was any confusion like what, where